Okay, patient is very weak, short of breath, respiration's usually right about 28.
He's not like really depressed, but he wants to die. He just wants to leave here.
She was having problems keeping the food in her.
He's at high risk for fall, so he's more or less wheelchair bound.
She's been more assertive about letting people know when they can come, when they can't.
You know, she doesn't want her kids to have to take care of him, and his only daughter recently passed away.
He's very confused, he's very upset, he's frightened, I'm gonna be in trouble now. Older. No, you're okay, everything's okay.
She should be using a walker all the time and a wheelchair some of the time, but she refuses. She is using the walker a little bit more.
That time when we end with prayer, she's always seems really medicated by that time. She just really enjoys that.
And so we're just really trying to find a way to make her happy and safe in her home.
It is the most gradual decline, but she's still more and more right-sided weakness, and she's continues to fall because she forgets she can't get up. I'm really concerned about the family in there. I've talked to Nicole about it. There's so much that the children are just like shunning her almost. It's like they will not come in the same room with her. The husband had made a comment to me of, can't we get rid of the Decadron? And he knew what the result of that would be, that she would die. And
It's almost like they're just tired of it, they just want it to be done.
yeah, it's really
Well,
it's
it's
a
a
horrible
hard thing to
thing.
watch somebody just gradually
die.
decline
But it's like,
and kind of in a dysfunctional, disfiguring way.
yeah, it's almost like they kind of want to hurry up
Well,
though. It's-
I'm not opposed to slowly tapering that down. I mean, I wouldn't stop it cold turkey, but and I
The
don't know
patient
that
doesn't
she-
want to stop. She thinks she
Yeah,
wants
well,
it. She's still alert enough to make that
Mhm.
decision, so
Yeah.
I'm sticking with that until
Yeah.
she changes
Well,
her mind.
That's the right thing to do.
She says, I want to stay as long as possible.
And apparently they're avoiding Irene as well. They're not just avoiding Nadine, they're avoiding
Yeah,
both of them. So
well,
like
it's
very
because
nice.
Irene's very supportive of Nadine.
Nadine, exactly.
Yeah, Nadine.
Is that the mother? Right.
Irene is the caregiver.
Irene's the
Oh.
sister-in-law, but
Yeah.
Nadine is the patient, and Irene is the sister-in-law, and she is extremely supportive.
It's a resource that individuals can use who are at the end of life and who have chosen comfort care measures only, when they've exhausted all those curative measures. And we have a team who consists of a medical director, home health aides, nursing staff. We have volunteers, we have social worker, chaplain, that all will help the family and the patient as one unit to heal emotionally, physically, and spiritually at the end of life.
Can you give Grandma kisses on her hand? Oh, cute. This is Betty, and how old are you, Grandma?
83.
Are you 83? I'm gonna just. She's 83. She's a mother of 4 children.
I just enlisted into hospice when
You were signed on to hospice a couple of months ago, and you've been on hospice for end-stage pulmonary because your asthma is really bad and your lungs don't work as well as they used to, do they?
no, but I'm real grateful to those that are helping me.
Right. She has an aide who comes in that really respects her privacy and dignity but can help her with her personal and grooming needs. And you've got Andrea who comes in to read books with you.
I don't remember their names, honey. I'm real sorry.
It's all right.
Professionally, there has to be boundaries. And then I have noticed that line sometimes can become enmeshed. It's not that I'm not allowed to be able to have my feelings, but it's just being able to look at the situation and say, okay, this is my role now when I'm here with my grandmother, and then this is my role as we are talking in, for example, IDT. What my experience has been is, okay, I'm okay with this end of life. My grandmother has lived a full life. But yet when it comes down to it, it feels like something's been taken away from me because I still want to go and hold her hand and give her a hug and love on her and tell her how much I love her and talk about those stories. But I know that her quality of life is not what it used to be, and she doesn't want to continue to live, the next 20, 30 years like that.
Would you like us to trim your beard?
Well, it should be slightly pointed.
I'll just trim it so it's not coming in your mouth.
Okay,
Okay?
there you go.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Activities of daily living, simple decisions like brushing your teeth, seem very minimal to us when we're healthy, but they become more fatigued quicker. They don't obviously get out as much. Their appetite decreases. Their temperature changes. Their responsiveness changes. So those are some of the things that they can come up against.
That looks pretty good, Chippy.
Shippy is just the funnest person. I lived in England for a while, so I immediately bonded with Janet and Shippy.
So, Chippy, tell me how you've been lately.
How I've been?
Yeah.
Well behaved.
Well behaved, as always.
I think so. And actually, I've been quite sick.
Yes. You've slowly lived with Parkinson's for a long time, haven't you? Slowly declined.
Nobody's cured it, so.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
There's no cure.
There's no cure for Parkinson's.
Shippy's a hard one because he wanted so bad at one point to die.
I would support him in his decisions, and when he said he didn't want to take medication anymore, and he was optimistic about how quickly it would work.
Yeah.
Resulting in death.
If we were in
I had a rather longer view than he did. I didn't think it would be as quick.
He decided to take himself off of his medications, and he really thought that he would die almost immediately within a couple weeks.
And now I'm ready to go.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What makes you think you're ready to go?
Pardon?
How do you know that you're ready to go?
I'm ready. I don't think God is ready. Sorry about that. That's blasphemous. Usually I am.
Yeah.
He didn't want to talk about suicide with his wife, but he did bring it up. And as a social worker, I have to assess whether he's serious about that or not. It was never that he had a plan or anything like that, but he just needed to vent and say what he had to say and bounce that off someone who wasn't going to judge him for that. Now he's kind of seeing the future a little bit.
What are your perceptions about death?
But death,
Yeah,
it happens
it happens.
to everybody as far as we know.
Yeah?
I doubt that it's an unpleasant experience, except of course you might be maybe unlucky. You may get chopped up by a road roller or something of that kind. But
That would be unfortunate.
It's not necessarily sad when I hear him talking about suicide, but it makes me sad that he doesn't have that option if that's what he wanted to do, because it is illegal in our state.
I'm always in a mixed state of how is he? How well is he? How happy is he? What his condition is. At the same time as thinking that if he thinks it's time, it would be nice if it wasn't too slow.
Yeah.
We talked about this in a meeting lately, and I know that it's been hard for me, is to allow people to go through struggle because that is their right. And that's hard because sometimes you see really bad situations and you want to change them and it breaks your heart. You want to take them out of there. We've become really close, kind of, and as you do in this job, you get as close as you can to people in a short amount of time, and then you usher them on to the next stage. So.
We're symptom management specialists. I mean, we have a full-time physician who goes to people's homes. I mean, we don't have to have that, but we do because it's such a wonderful thing for people who are trying to stay home and kind of feel a little iffy about not being able to go to their doctor anymore because that was their security. And to have a doctor now that will go to their homes has been wonderful. And it's one of the first things I would ask a hospice is, do you have a full-time physician who will come and see me in my home if I need?
Do you like to be called Wally or Wallace?
Wallace.
Wallace.
I do not like to be called Wally. I am not the Beaver's brother. Wally's the Beaver's brother.
But when I met you,
Well, I
Leave It to
accept-
Beaver did not really come to mind.
I have accepted just letting people call me Wally.
Yes, but Wallace is what you like.
All right.
Okay, well, I want to call you what you like.
If I survive the summer,
Mm-hmm.
my plans are to go. I have a place to live in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and I plan to go there. Leave here sometime the 1st of November.
It's been 61 hard years.
Yeah, all self-inflicted wounds.
But at least it sounded like it was quite fun.
It was then, but I don't think it's so funny
Not so
now.
fun now, yeah.
Are you having any pain? I'd say yes. And they say on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay. I have no medical experience. I don't know what a 5 is. I don't know what a 10 is.
Sure. It's hard to...
And I would say here in my kidneys.
Uh-huh.
And this here where you can't reach in your back.
Kind of right between your
I
shoulder
got pain
blades there.
On the scale of what's it? I don't know. I tell them 5, tell them 6. And finally, it goes from August to October.
Mm-hmm.
And I go in there and say, you know that pain? It's a 10.
It's a 10.
It might even be a 12. I'd say 99% of the time, this hurts.
Mm-hmm.
He said, come in 2 weeks and we'll do a CAT scan and reevaluate you.
Mm-hmm.
And he did, and then a week after that he got the results. And I came in, the total of the conversation was, he said, I got some bad news.
Mm-hmm.
Your chemo's come back like gangbusters. Or not your chemo, your cancer.
Cancer.
He said, you have 8 more treatments. He said, you can take them, but there's no guarantee this cancer's coming back.
Right. Even despite the treatment that you've received, it's growing fast.
And I told him that there wasn't going to be any more chemo anyways. I'd already made up my mind 18. I couldn't take it anymore.
Sure.
And that was basically the end of our conversation.
You know, usually at that point, a lot of people would say, gosh, hospice might be a good alternative.
At that point, I thought that he's the one that's supposed to tell me it's time to go.
That's the time, you know, when hospice could become useful for you. I mean, who knows when somebody has 6 months?
I think I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know that your inner self, your inner body,
Yeah.
can feel
Mm-hmm.
what you're gaining and what you're losing.
Right.
You know, Wallace had just moved here from out of town to come live with his daughter, and so it was a new setting for him, and it was the first time that we had gotten to get together. He'd always been a very happy-go-lucky guy, and I think had really struggled when he had come on this disease and had a lot of loss.
And it sounds like I'm a crybaby. Yes. Let's just go.
Believe me, Wallace, nobody thinks you're a crybaby.
He was really struggling with anorexia and nausea. He was really struggling with uncontrolled pain. And that was something that we were able to really help him with. Enjoy his family, enjoy his grandkids, and not just be struggling with pain issues.
Do you use your oxygen just if you feel short of breath around the house or at night, or when do you use your oxygen?
Whenever the call comes.
Uh-huh. Whenever you feel the need.
Yeah. That blood pressure and that should be normal.
Yeah, that's great. Only live another 30 years with that blood pressure, Wallace.
Well, get me some more lungs. Get down there, but it's like it didn't hurt. It's just like uncomfortable.
Well, it's good. Your liver is not real big. That's great.
Well, after all those beers and stuff I drank, that thing should be hanging down to my knee.
Yeah. You know, we're going to try to control your pain. We're going to try to help your appetite because eating can be enjoyable, and you know, help with your strength, your fatigue. Those are the kind of things that cancer patients struggle with, and we got a few tricks in our bag, and we'll give it a whirl and see if we can get you.
Here we are invited into a home, and these individuals usually invite us in because they need physical help. We don't walk in with an agenda. We walk in with open arms to say, how do you want this to look? What is it that you want this last time with your loved one to look like for you and for your loved one? And then from there, that's where we take it. We develop a care plan with them to say, okay, I'm going to arm you with the different types of medications, and I'm going to explain them to you in detail. And then we're going to talk about it, and you can tell me how you feel. And then what comes behind that is the emotional and spiritual, because then they realize that that's part of the process.
What we see in hospice is that no one ever goes to their deathbed saying, geez, I'm so glad I did that overtime, that I got the new car, the great house, you know. In the end, all those things that you spent 90% of your time after don't make any difference.
Many times in hospital settings and more and more we're finding that people are really desiring and yearning for their spiritual wellness to be addressed, and oftentimes that has not happened.
And from day to day and week to week, we have a care plan that we work with because their spirituality also changes.
Sometimes people will actually be in physical pain that the nurses and the doctors can't seem to remedy. They can't seem to comfort this person. And spiritual pain is a very real condition that can actually cause physical pain.
Some things that we hope they will do are not easy things. They're things they've avoided for many years. Some of them need a reconciliation with a son or a daughter or a wife or a friend. And part of our professional approach is if we can find that pain and find some way to relieve that pain through our effort and have them end with that peace, their families have a right to know their real feelings, and they have a responsibility and right to give them, and that's part of the job that Kelly and I see and try and provide for them as well.
Now, of course, we're all dying every moment. But somehow the diagnosis of a terminal illness really brings that to the forefront.
The ones who are living after their loved ones have passed away, hearing them say she was really able to find peace in her heart and soul because she was able to express to somebody who was outside of the situation and could say it openly without judgment, without any type of fear. It was just an individual willing to sit bedside and listen to them, no matter what it was that they had to say.
Sometimes it is the greatest act of love to say, it is okay for you to die, and I will be all right without you. So a person can leave with peace, and you have peace also.
This elderly couple, they would bicker back and forth with each other, you know, like she'd say, dear, and he'd say, what? Because he was hard of hearing and she was very soft-spoken. One day I was there sitting with her and she was saying, you know, I think he's dying. Well, I think you're right. I think he is. We never talk about it. She said, I really want to talk to him about it. And so we talked about some of the things that she could say. She knew she wouldn't remember them, so she wrote them down on a piece of paper. And then she said, will you come in there with me? I want to do it right now. Right now. I said, okay. So I walk in the bedroom and I sat at the foot of the bed really quietly. And she walked up to him very tenderly and held his hand and bent over, and for the first time she got right up to his ear and said, George, I want to tell you that I love you. He was going, well gosh, you know, I care about you too. George, I want to tell you that I know that you're dying and I'm going to miss you. What are you talking about? George, you know your parents? Yeah, well they died, didn't they? Yeah, they did. Well, honey, I just want to tell you that I'm going to be okay. And he said, what? I'm going to be okay. I love you, I'm going to miss you, and I'm going to be okay. And you could see this really crusty, grumpy man just soften. And he softened, and he looked in her eyes, and he said, I'm so glad and I love you too, honey. I love you too. And they held hands and she crawled in bed with him. And that's when I got up and left the room. I just left him there. It was incredible.
I think we are so blessed to live and work with people at a very rich time of their life. Those that can communicate with us have a lot to say, and they want someone to hear it.
And the stories of her heroism that they tell is just unbelievable. And this is, it's right in front of you. This is history happening right before your eyes.
You become a member of the family, even in that very short period of time.
And it's the one job that I can walk away and say I did something good today. You know,
There's two of them here that were with us a long time.
I had Lloydine. I didn't have her for a whole long time, but it was a great thing to be able to take care of Lloydine. I just thought she was the sweetest little lady. I wish I had known her years ago when she could speak and when you could see more of her personality. But she was always just such a gentle soul. I would walk in and say, "How are you today?" And she would just give me a little nod as she was over. Always positive. She was a sweetheart.
But she was on service long enough that I can remember when she colored, and she was so cheerful.
Yeah, towards the end she was just organizing the colors of the crayon.
You really enjoyed her when we first signed on. So I took care of her for a number of months when we first signed on, and just so pleasant. But I'm really glad I got to know her. And she was a very sweet woman.
I'm gonna miss her. You know, it's hard for me to imagine that.
And she just went so peacefully, and I was very grateful for that.
So thank you everybody for being here. And thank you for everything you guys do all the time.
Thanks for your nice
Every
words.
day.
Thank you.
I really did. I think there's the chemo. It was specific. Now I'm very specific. Did they call Karen?
I'm not sure about how long he's going to be with us.
People come and then they go, and that's just the way it goes. Listen to what we know, like water we shall flow back to the ocean.
We have this foundation, so we provide care for people regardless of their ability to pay. And we've never charged a patient for any care because people have been generous to the foundation. So it's just important for people to really seek out all the facts about hospice because there's a wide variety of services now.
These people, after having lived wonderful lives, have the right to end their lives happily and feeling loved.
There's time for everything.
You only get to die once. You don't get to go back and do it a second time. And if we're pushing and pushing and pushing what we feel like is right, it's not going to be the experience that they want.
The better way when work becomes your play. Hey, come.
Yeah, I think that you get to talk about issues a lot of times that are not related to medicine directly, but it's related to life. That's one of the things I enjoy too, getting to know patients in a deeper way, getting to know their families, because I think hospice does as much for the family as it does for the patient.
The thing that attracted all the people who work here, it's what attracted all of them to each other because we all believe in this one core thing. of being present and that meaningfulness in life and death and birth.